All right, going live for the first time. Just thought I'd play some blues. So, oftentimes, I went off in some weird tangent there. Oftentimes, people will ask me, when you play, like, how do you go outside and play a wrong note? You just move a half step out. So you hear that start in. So you can move the whole, like, pentatonic shape or whatever that you're playing. And as long as you come back in and land on something interesting, then it's kind of neat. Anyway, I see there's some people watching, which is cool. I have no idea how to interact. If you guys, like, maybe say hello, where you're from. Maybe I'll be able to find some sort of comment or something saying hello from wherever. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Creep by Radiohead. I think that's meant for me. I've played it in the past. I think the only Radiohead that comes to mind right now would be how does that go? That one. Karma Police, that's what it's called. Having a brain fart there. That's a great tune. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's so strange with these copyright strikes and things. I don't know if I should or shouldn't be playing tunes by other people. Maybe someone can tell me what it's like, Oh, thank you so much. Thanks for subscribing. Really appreciate it, Cocoa Beans. Anyway, I'm just jamming on some blues stuff. A lot of interesting stuff that I play, I think, or that other people play that I'm attracted to would be like really interesting rhythmic things. Just having some chords under your belt more than just the typical bar chords. Even with that, though, partial strums make it interesting. So, for example, instead of that, you can go. Using your pinky to accent on other notes that are, sevenths or sixths or ninths. So even if you're holding on to that basic shape, you can do a lot of stuff with your pinky. And around that, you can add in the Hendrix, sort of Mayer, John Mayer, Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff that. Love this whammy bar, by the way. This is a wicked guitar. Paul Reed Smith SE DGT, so it's the more affordable model, for like $1,000 in and around. It's an amazing guitar for the money. And one of my favorite things about it is definitely the trem, because it's so smooth and it stays in tune really well. So if you guys haven't checked out kind of a cool guitar in the $1,000-ish price point, this is one that I would definitely give a shot. I was never a huge PRS fan, to be honest, beforehand, because I thought that they sounded kind of like too middle of the road. They didn't have that Fender vibe or that Gibson vibe. It was just sort of like hanging out in the middle. But I don't know, this guitar just there's something to it, and there's an amazing clarity there too. So full, warm clarity. When I do stuff like that, so let's get back to that. So I'm on the 4 chord here. Let's get back to like a bluesy talk thing. If I'm in a C blues, then I'll go to the 4 chord, which is an F. Like an F7, F9, more so F9. So I'm flattening the 5th there, and going to that, voicing. You're hearing, and your ear kind of follows that along, makes it kind of interesting. Deciding deciding what kind of guitar to get or like the shape. What do you recommend? Yeah, that's totally personal. I mean, if you look, here, I'm going to show this, the bit of a sickness that I have here. I've got a bunch of guitars back here. You can't even see half of them because they're off to the side. But I've got a couple Gibson. I've got a Gibson Les Paul, an Epiphone Les Paul, some Fender Strats. I have a bunch of Tellys. I have a Epiphone special edition sort of Gibson ES-175 kind of jazz box thing, and then this thing, which is great because it's sort of like a Swiss Army knife. I like guitars like this, especially because they can cover a wide range of tones. So if I bring them to a gig, I've got that Gibson-y kind of full sound. Now I've got this warm kind of mellow tone happening. But if I wanted to kick it into the bridge position, that was the neck, and I turn the tone up. So I've got that, you got that, and I haven't even split the coils yet. That's just as it is. Now if I go in the middle, I'll get that kind of like that kind of vibe. But if I pull the tone pot, then that, I don't know if it splits it or whatever, but it makes it sound more like single coils. Still in the middle. So the one thing you'll notice, maybe online or not, but it definitely kills the volume, so you might want to have a bit of a volume boost pedal to make up for that. But the neck, now it's not going to sound exactly like a Strat, but it gets in the territory, and especially if you put a little drive in there. And then again, in the bridge pickup, you'll get that. So I really like generally keep it in humbucking, but it's got such a wide variety at a great price point. So I would suggest something like this would be a good way to go in terms of a guitar. What's that guitar called? It is the Paul Reed Smith DGT, so it stands for David Grissom Tremolo, but the SE version. So it's made in like Indonesia, but it's such a great guitar. So it's pretty cool. Thank you. Yeah, I love it too. Funny story. I went to New York many years, like over 15 years ago probably, and went to a place called Rudy's, which is like a really historic guitar store in New York City. And he had just opened up Rudy's Soho. So I went down to Soho and checked out Rudy's shop. By chance, Rudy happened to be there, which is amazing. This is Rudy from Rudy Pensa, who made like him and I think Rudy Pensa and Sir, yeah, Pensa Sir. So they're the ones that made Mark Knopfler's guitars, you know, Sir guitars. That was all in partnership, I believe, with Rudy. I think, someone correct me if I'm wrong. So Mark Knopfler, Dire Straits, that, you know, shoot, how does it go? How'd it go? Anyway, that whole thing. You know, Dire Straits, Sultans of Swing and all that. So anyway, he opened up his own shop in Soho, and he had his own personal collection of like these amazing jazz box guitars up on the top row. And he was telling me stories. He was so nice, and he was walking me around. He must have spent like over an hour, maybe 2 hours with me, just walking around the store talking about guitars. We talked about John Pizzarelli coming in there, John Mayer coming in there, all these cool stories. And there was this one guitar, a Paul Reed Smith, this is how it's all coming back, but it was a gold top. And it was the David Grissom, like the original American one, hanging up downstairs. I think it was used. And there was this girl playing it, and she sounded great. I think he told me that was Pat Martino's daughter or something. And she just sounded amazing. Really friendly person. And I got a chance to play that guitar too and hang out, and what an experience. So if that store is still there, I hope it's still there. You guys definitely have to check it out if you visit New York. But yeah, absolutely loved that. So I have mine with Michael Ackerfeld series. Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, Paul Reed Smith makes some great guitars. The one thing I will say about Paul Reed Smith, although they're quite pricey, generally, is they look fantastic, and the build quality is like nothing else. Like the frets are super smooth, everything's even. It really didn't need to be set up or anything. Like right out of the box, it was pretty much ready to rock. I just I play heavier strings, so I put on my 11 to 52 is what I play, D'Addario. Yeah, so that was it. I just had to adjust for the strings, and I was good to go. I'm just gonna plug in my phone because I think the battery might be dying. There we go. I think we're good to go now. So yeah, awesome guitar. So I'm just gonna play some more blues stuff. Maybe a minor blues. Hold on, I don't know what's going on here. There we go. Like if you guys, I'm assuming you're all guitar players, right? We're all guitar nerds here. If you play a minor chord like this, you play a minor seventh, you just lift up your pinky finger, right? And if you add your pinky over here on the first string, on that note, which is essentially the second, in A it's a B. You can even just play it like this. It just sounds, I don't know, a little bit colorful, but not too colorful where it sounds like super jazzy or anything like that. It's just pretty cool. So, hi, Dane Nakewa. Interesting name, dude. Say hi. Hey, what's up? Oz N3T. Yeah, we talked. Do you have a PRS? Oh, yeah, you do. You have the Opeth Michael. I'm not sure about that. I know what that one is. I'll have to check it out after. Anyway, back to minor ninths. Love the sound of these chords. For the 4 chord, you can play a D minor 7. You can put the B on top if you want. Or even better, the C, which is making it the minor ninth. Right? Oh no, it's not. That's the 7. But it adds just little colors because your ear tends to kind of float towards the top note. Anyway, then I like to play a voicing like this. So this is the root, right? The 3rd. Here we've got the 5th and the 3rd again. Or my 7th. Jesus Christ. This is what happens when you don't sleep for like a week. You're out every night playing. So anyway, minor ninth, another way to play it like this. And the variations, it just creates movement within a scale, within the chord. So I'll demonstrate that. That's that A minor 9. All right then. Anyway, some cool minor kind of jams, but I like to add those little colors in, and then you'll notice, like, you know, my pinky doing some fills in and around minor pentatonic scale. Here's an A minor chord, another A minor 7 on the top 4 strings. So I'm playing some sweep picking stuff there. Sweep picking through some arpeggios, some triads, and some minor or sort of 7th chords that are all in the same key, kind of in the key in this case of like A Dorian when I'm on the A chord. If you want to get super technical. It creates a cool little flurry of notes. But I don't do like the full gambale sort of sweeping thing, which I can't do, truth be told. But even if I could, I'm not sure that I would because it's very overwhelming at times. But I like little flurries here and there. So within that, you know, scale, if I'm in like A Dorian or the 2nd position of A G major. That's all available to me there. I don't know if you could see that, but so yeah, I'm just going through kind of like a roadmap of notes. Just jamming. If you guys have any questions about guitar stuff, I'd be happy to chat about gear or theory or kind of the thoughts about behind the stuff that I'm playing. Otherwise, I'll just keep jamming on some stuff. So, yeah. I was working on this thing the other day. I'll play it in, I don't know, B to keep things a little bit different. B7. So that sort of sounds, in my ear, it kind of goes a little bit away from the traditional bluesy guys that you hear, like the Three Kings, you know, B.B., Freddie, and Albert, who I love, all of them, and Albert Collins, into more like Matt Schofield, sort of Robin Ford territory, because it's starting to spell the chord out a little bit more. So you're playing more like a... dominant or Mixolydian, you may have heard. And that kind of spells out that chord. So that's all Mixolydian based stuff. Now I wanted to, that's 3-note per string kind of scale shapes, which is great. But I wanted to make it a little bit more accessible and more pentatonic. You know, because we're all used to pentatonics as guitar players, right? We're really used to that 2-note per string thing, or sometimes 3 if you're like doing the blues, right? Play B.B. King music, I assume. Yep, definitely. I played something sort of B.B. King-like. I'll do that again in a second. But this is kind of going one step beyond B.B. into that kind of more advanced Schofield, Matt Schofield, Robin Ford territory, and I'm talking about making that dominant sound. So I didn't make it, I didn't create it, but I sort of came upon it just by experimenting. This is what I call a dominant 9th pentatonic. So in B, rather than like a B minor blues pentatonic would be this. Right? Or major would be this, major blues scale. Two very different sounds. This is kind of in between. That dominant 9th is this. So it creates that sort of almost B.B. King-like thing where B.B. would go. B.B. would have that vibrato, right? That. goofing around. But that's sort of like a BB King-ish kind of vibe. He's got that fast vibrato. Yeah, I love it. I was always drawn to two other guys' vibrato a little bit more, just for my own style, the way that my physicality is on the guitar, and that would be Stevie Ray Vaughan and Warren Haynes, and more of a slower, kind of deeper vibrato. See, kind of more, kind of slower, deeper, more vocal. Then you can add in some faster ones. Thanks, guys. You're being really kind. Battery Boost, too amazing. You're amazing. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys consider subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to grow it into something that, and create a community of people that just love blues guitar and all that stuff. So, yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you. Who are you guys listening to these days? I love, learning about new guitar players. And I'm going to suggest one that maybe you guys haven't heard of yet. He's a German blues guitar player who I absolutely love. This guy is amazing. His name's Henrik Frischlader, I believe is how you pronounce it. Henrik Frischlader. Check this guy out on YouTube. Check him out on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. This guy is an amazing player. Like, wow. All next level stuff. Really cool. Similar kind of vibe-ish to, I think, Matt Schofield, with a bit of a different edge. But so cool, man. This guy's great singer too. So yeah, that's pretty neat. Actually, okay, so speaking of Matt Schofield, you guys asked me about this guitar earlier, this Paul Reed Smith. So this is gonna sound like I'm name dropping or whatever, but who cares? It's a cool story. There was a store that recently closed down. I'm just north of Toronto, Canada. And there's the store that closed down, and it was called Cosmo Music. And basically, it's been around for 20, 30 years. But they built this huge, massive store. And I was there one day, because it's 15, 20 minutes from the house. And my buddy Jordan, who happens to be, whatever, great guitar player. He's one of those guys that you just want to kick in the head because he's good at everything. Amazing singer, amazing guitar player, amazing bass player, amazing drummer. Guy plays keys. He plays everything. Like, his dad played bass, I think, with not Lou Rawls, with Lou Reed, and I think maybe even P-Funk. Prakash John is his name, great bass player. But Jordan is his son, amazing, talented dude. I know him just sort of through the local music scene. And he's good buddies with Matt Schofield, and Matt Schofield and him were at the store. So I was up, I picked up the Gold Top version, US version of this guitar, and was sort of jamming on it. And Matt walked in, and we had this long sort of jam and conversation. Had to be about an hour and a half. We were just hanging out. It was just the two of us up there. And he's an amazing player, and such a nice, down-to-earth dude. And we were trading guitars back and forth. Check this one out, check that one out. We were checking out Suhr guitars and PRS guitars. And I was saying how the only PRS guitar that I ever really jived with was the David Grissom model. And he agreed. He was like, yeah, me, the same thing. Because of what we were talking about. They're beautiful guitars. They're well made, but they just sort of sit in this middle territory, right? But anyway, he was making that thing sing. So that was a cool Matt Schofield story. Another Matt Schofield story, because I got to know him after that a little bit, is that he played downtown Toronto at a place called The Horseshoe. Now, The Horseshoe's famous because everybody's played it. Stevie Ray Vaughan's played it. The Rolling Stones have played it. David Bowie, all these guys have played the El Macombo and The Horseshoe. There's this little circuit down in Toronto. And Matt Schofield had the show there. And I was like, oh, that's amazing. I went down there and I was so excited to hear his Two-Rock and his, what are they, SPL guitars or something, the Strat, and just Matt's stuff. And Jordan was playing drums with him and singing backup. And I went down there and there were like a dozen people at the show. It was on a Monday night in the middle of the summer, so it was kind of random. It wasn't well promoted, I think, and there were only like a dozen people there, and I felt terrible. But I got to tell you, that was probably the best guitar tone, the best live guitar tone I have ever heard. And it was just amazing. But shortly after that, I think he moved down to Florida because he was living in the area for a while. And I know he's from the UK, but he moved down to Florida, and I think he's been there for the last 10-ish years, or maybe that long, maybe-ish. But such an amazing player and really good dude. So yeah, I've had the good fortune of meeting some really cool guitar players that have come through town. But that was my Matt Schofield, Paul Reed Smith story. In a long drawn out way. He plays this great version of Freddie King. I think it's a Freddie King tune. You guys know the name of it? I do believe my baby got a black cat bone. I believe my baby got a black cat bone. The harder I try, the more she go around cheating like. Anyway, he plays Black Cat Bone. It's such a great version of that tune. Really cool. Battery Boost, you gotta go. I have to go. Good night. Thanks for the guitar music. Thank you for checking it out, and I hope you guys decide to stick around and subscribe. I'm going to put out a bunch of videos, and we can hopefully hang out like this and do some cool things together. Just share the love of blues and guitar and all that stuff. So thank you. It's kind of a cool groove. I just sort of came up with that on the spot. Anyway, it's been 30 minutes, so this was my first foray into doing a live video on YouTube. I hope you guys dug it. Let me know what you think. If you have any requests for other videos or other live streams, yeah, I'm happy to do that because this is kind of a cool hang. All right, I hope you guys have a great night, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thanks. How do I even stop this live thing? I don't even know. Oh, there we go.